Hi and welcome to another presentation from your business tutor, learning your way, anytime, anywhere. It was clear when we looked at product service grouping that it was more customer focused than functional grouping. Nevertheless, as we will find out in this presentation, an organisation can group its staff in an even more customer orientated manner, and that is by implementing customer grouping of staff. So what are we going to learn in this presentation? Well, first of all, we're going to find out what customer grouping of staff is, and then we're going to explore the advantages and disadvantages of customer grouping of staff. So what is customer grouping of staff? Customer grouping is when an organisation allocates its staff to divisions based on the customers it serves or sells to. This can be done in one of two ways. In large organisations with thousands of customers, the business will group its customers who have similar needs and wants together. Thereafter, the organisation will set up a division to deal specifically with those customers' needs. For example, in the diagram shown, a clothes retailer has grouped its staff to serve 4 different customer groups: women, men, girls, and boys. However, in an organisation which only has a few customers or clients, the business will allocate staff to deal with the specific needs of each customer or client. For example, in the diagram shown, the office cleaning business has grouped its staff according to the 4 clients whose offices they clean: Aber Limited, Brent Limited, Daffer Limited, and Farside Limited. Now, as with product service grouping, customer grouping also provides each department with a certain amount of independence. As such, you'd expect a decentralised management structure to exist across the organisation, so that each division has the power to make decisions in their customers' best interests. So let's now move on and ask, what are the advantages of customer grouping? The biggest advantage of customer grouping of staff is it allows an organisation to be incredibly customer focused. Each division is set up to meet the needs and wants of specific groups of customers. This is important as it allows each division to tailor the services and products it provides to customers, which will help to increase customer satisfaction and loyalty. This customer-orientated approach not only keeps each division focused on customers that generate the organisation's revenue and profits, but also makes each division more aware of what is going on in its specific market and how its customers' requirements are changing. Keeping a close eye on this via market research will not only allow each division to react quickly to changes in customer requirements, but will also keep them ahead of competitors and maintain customer loyalty. Of course, much of this ability to react quickly to changes in the market is down to the decision-making power that exists in each division, but also the expertise of its staff. As with product service grouping, customer grouping is designed in a way that allows staff in each division to become an expert on the customers or client they serve. This creates a perfect combination. Expert staff with decision-making power, able to make changes quickly to improve the customer service experience. Put this all together, and an organisation has a fantastic chance of increasing its sales and profits, which leads nicely on to our next advantage. As with product service grouping, it is very easy to identify the performance of each division when customer grouping is used. This is because as each division is serving either a certain group of customers or a single client, it is easy to identify the sales, costs and profits related to that division. It is therefore easy to compare divisional performance across the organisation, but also from year to year to identify trends. A final advantage of customer grouping is that it supports the creation of a positive corporate culture focused on customers. Very simply, it concentrates the actions of the whole organisation on its customers, the only stakeholder that generates the revenue and profits a business needs to survive and prosper. Okay, now that we've looked at the advantages, let's now move on and ask, what are the disadvantages of customer grouping of staff? As with product service grouping, the biggest disadvantage of customer grouping is the duplication of activities, work and tasks across the organisation. Because each division has considerable independence, it means each division can act in isolation from other divisions. This can be a problem as it can hinder cooperation between divisions, which means that very easily employees in different divisions could be carrying out very similar work and not even realise. For example, each division may have its own customer service policy, which is incredibly similar in content to other divisions. This type of duplication not only wastes resources, but adds significantly to staffing costs, as multiple people are employed across the organisation to carry out similar work. In fact, the cooperation problems identified can cause further issues, especially if the negative side of identifying divisional performance comes to the fore. This is because if divisions feel they are in competition with each other, they are less likely to share resources and expertise, which not only will have a negative effect on the overall efficiency and effectiveness of the organisation, but also can detrimentally influence corporate culture, especially if divisions become overly competitive and start to actively undermine each other. A final disadvantage of customer grouping actually stems from one of its advantages, and that is when an employee leaves an organisation, it can create a gap or hole in the service provided to its customers. This is especially the case when the organisation only has a few clients and the member of staff leaving is the main point of contact for that customer. This can result in the service provided to the customer deteriorating until a replacement is found and they get up to speed. So what did we learn in today's presentation? Well, first of all, we found out what customer grouping of staff is, and then we went on to identify the advantages and disadvantages of customer grouping of staff. There are clear and obvious similarities between product service and customer grouping of staff, whereas when compared to functional grouping, there are huge contrasts. This makes people think that making a decision on which grouping of staff to choose is relatively straightforward. However, when selecting a grouping of staff, management need to realise that their choice will involve making significant trade-offs. For example, most organisations want to meet their customers' needs as they will help to create customer loyalty and increase sales. This would therefore indicate that product service or customer grouping would be most appropriate. However, this forgets that each of these groupings suffers from high costs due to increased duplication and staffing across the organisation. This creates a massive challenge for management, because if costs increase significantly, then a grouping that meets customers' needs may actually result in a fall in profits. Obviously, such a situation would not only concern management, but would also displease shareholders. This is why being a manager is such a demanding role, as what initially might seem a simple decision becomes incredibly more challenging when looked at in more detail.